Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. I'm really excited about my guest tonight. I got to meet him in person when 2 years in a row at the Full Disclosure Now conference, and he's as cool in person as you see behind the mic. As when you see him on screen. And that's who I'm talking about is Drago Reid, and he's very serious about like the secret space program disclosure. He lives it, breathes it. He's about it. A little bit more about my guest. I wrote tonight on the Typical Skeptic podcast. We're joined by Drago Reid of Portal to Another Dimension for a deep dive into some of the most controversial and thought-provoking topics in alternative research. We'll be exploring the secret space programs, suppressed technologies, and the hidden layers of history we may believe have been intentionally kept from the public. Drago brings a unique perspective, blending research, intuition, independent investigation to break down global events and how they may connect to a much larger hidden framework operating behind the scenes. And a little bit more about my guest. Drago Reid is a researcher, content creator, and host of Portal to Another Dimension, where he explores topics related to hidden history, secret space programs. He's also a secret space program experiencer. He's a QHHT practitioner. Through his platforms, including YouTube, Rumble, and his website, fractallight.com, Drago shares insights into suppressed knowledge, conscious exploration, and the interconnected systems that may influence both humanity and global events. He encourages his audience to think critically, question accepted narratives, and explore the possibility that reality is far complex than it appears. And with all that said, I'd like to give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Drago, thanks for coming back on. Good to see you, man. Oh, what happened? What something's been happening with people's connection tonight. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I wonder what. Maybe if I remove him from the screen. This happened last show with Missy too. I wonder what the heck's going on. I'll add him again. Yeah. It's just going to a blank screen. What is going on? This is StreamYard for you. They're just honestly, I'm about to get rid of StreamYard. Honestly. All right, just hang in there, guys. We'll see. We'll get them on here, hopefully. Hopefully he reconnects. But this is on par with what we deal with all the time. Honestly, this is on par with what I deal with all the time. Like it's to a point now where I'm starting to get frustrated of these streaming companies or whatever's going on. Anchor Haven says shields up. I agree. We're being messed with big time. Okay, here he is, guys. Hopefully this will add him and we'll be able to see him and everything.
All right, is my audio good?
We're good now. Yeah, that was crazy, man. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, during the bio, my screen just went black as if you turned it off out of nowhere. It was freaking weird, and my audio wasn't working or nothing. I just rejoined
that happened
it
in my last show
put it
too.
right back in.
Yeah, that's weird. Like I don't know what that is. It was really strange. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for coming back on, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Like no complaints, just working and doing my thing and taking a little break right now. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Have you uncovered a lot more on your your testimony and stuff like that?
Yeah. I would say everybody needs to go watch part 1 and part 2 on my YouTube Portal to Another Dimension. I released an episode, a couple of sessions, hypnosis sessions I did on Susan Schatzer and Bethany Shelton. This is 2 people that I have had different lives with, and this is the Draconians involved, me having a conversation and fighting the Draconians. It's actually literally on my YouTube, man. It got pretty intense by part 2. But a lot of clients that are sent to me, we find out when they want to discover secret space program stuff, a lot of them will be shown that we're in the same programs together. So my story kind of evolves month by month because every single person I put under that's SSP, that I can verify other programs, a lot of them, they're being shown that we're in these same factions and programs. So, I mean, every year, every month, I add on to additional material. I learn more programs we were in together. I learn it's so much, man. It's pretty freaking complex. I write about it constantly.
Yeah. What has been going on? Like, what have you uncovered? Like, what, give us like a preview if you can. Like, I mean, like, just about like different programs that are going on, or like,
Okay,
like,
so a lot of stuff that's been coming up is I've been in numerous breeding programs within the SSP and in different extraterrestrial lives. And my core energy, my guardian class, architect class soul, it exists outside the dimensions, outside of physicality. I've already went through all the dimensions and earned all my badges and stuff like that. You can see that on my Akashic record and like my light body. I literally will have these badges you can see. And let's just say they hijacked me when I came down. They violated some agreements. They keep me in cycles and loops. They introduce handlers constantly in my life. I see that handler list grows monthly. And I'm also noticing that they're activating a lot of females with memories or QHHT sessions where we were either married or we were together in other lifetimes or in the programs. And it's getting a bit out of control. So that's what's really going on. The last couple years, I've had a lot of females approach me saying we're married or this and that, and it's getting to a point where all these women have expectations to continue relationships from other lifetimes or
yeah,
SSP experiences that I have no memories of. So it's getting to a point where I see that they're activating people right now to come against me, and that's kind of why I disappeared over the last couple of years. It's been like nonstop attacks. And it's been like, I wouldn't say non attacks from the public. It's been from handler driven assets, and it's been pretty intense. And last couple presentations I did, they're really starting to get passed around, and it's really activating a lot of people. A lot of people are waking up, getting downloads and all kinds of stuff, man. But like, it's obviously they've been ramping up the TIRAP program with me, just targeting various ways and stuff. And it's just getting to a point where I'm just like, I'm done with it. And I'm just going to keep my shields up, and I'm going to start setting it from stun to kill. So.
yeah. Like, this is a good question. What do you believe the CSSP is when at its core? Do you believe that it's like technology, consciousness, interdimensionality, or something else entirely? Like, or do you believe it's physical and non-physical at the same time? Like because these people say we have solar warden, right? But like, so that would obviously be physical. But then it seems like some of this stuff happens in like interdimensional realms too.
Yeah, so it's all the above. You have to understand that the SSP has mastered all of the matrix. They know all the backdoor codes, all the programmers, how to manipulate who, what, and when in time, how to get through the timelines, introduce Mandela effects, basically just pollute the organic timelines. This is why we have so many Mandelas. This is why we have so much contrasting and contradicting information. It never ends. And it got out of control a long time ago. Like, we're just really wrapping up the Lyran Wars. I get a lot of hypnosis sessions where people are in these Lyran Wars. And I have a lot of Lyrans that come to me and introduce themselves to me and show that I've had past lives with them. And a lot of major players are coming. A lot of the top of the top. Most people that come to me, they're major players. Galactically, intergalactically, astrally, non-physical. I'm talking about existing above the central command of the central sun of all suns. So it's a bit complicated, man.
Yeah. Do you think that the SSP ties into world events? What's going on now?
They steer all of it. You have to understand that Planetary Corporation runs a lot of the planet. You have to understand they own BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, all these investment firms. They're the puppeteers, but they're not the main puppeteers. They're the puppeteers off-world to the on-world puppets. So whatever wars are happening around the world, it's authorized by planetary affairs above our purview. So you have to understand, like, all this is authorized to happen. All these world wars, all this transhumanism, all the chemtrails, all this stuff, poisoning and killing of the population, it's all being allowed through Planetary Corporation and these off-planet factions and elite families and ET groups. So, I mean, this has been going on for billions of years. Like, we're still fighting the Orion Syndicate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's been going on for so long. It's that's been our history, our mythos from the beginning of time. Like, it's not nothing new. Everybody talks about the secret space program as secret and no one's heard of it. It's been going on since before Lyra. You know, it officially started when we left Lyra, when the Draconians invaded, and we had to go interstellar and seek refuge because our planets were being overtaken and destroyed. So we had to go to Sirius A and B, and we had to go to all these other planets and outposts and asteroids and off worlds because we had to survive, you know? So it's very
Yeah.
complex, man. Like, the Earth is just, it was originally a school where light beings can play and experience, and it was hijacked. And they installed a matrix over a matrix. This is basically a holographic reality that's non-physical, because we're just light experiencing physicalness. Like,
Yeah.
the five senses is an illusion.
Yeah.
Period.
And
So,
we kind of, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to say, what part do you think the Anunnaki play in this? Because I know you studied a lot of the Sumerian texts and stuff. Like, do you feel that they're like the main players in encasing us into this reality and like making the Matrix what it is? Do you think they're the ones behind the scenes, or do you think it's like a coalition between like the Anunnaki, the Draco, or something like that?
It's always been a coalition since the beginning. Like, you have to realize, when the Draconians invaded and took over all these planets, they outright owned them. So when the Anunnaki came, let's say 500,000 years ago, they had to get permission from the Draconians in order to allow kingship on the planet. And what that did was, instead of the Draconians having to have their own people or slaves run the planet for taxes, they had the Anunnaki, which they bred into. When you allow these leases on planets that you don't own, like to the Anunnaki, they require interbreeding. So they'll breed a high-ranking Draconian or a queen with someone high-ranking with the Anunnaki. And that's why you get the story where one of the Anunnaki brothers is half reptilian. It's true. His mother's Draconian. So this is where you have this separation, and like the blood of Cain and the Canaanites, and how they separate that from all the other brothers of, what was it, Noah. And that's how we get all these different bloodlines. And then you mix it with the extraterrestrial ones, where they all came with all these experiments. There was 22 experiments going on before all this really got out of control. The Mantids have a huge stake in Earth and other planets. They were the ones running this a long time ago. And like, you have to understand, the Draconians ran this planet before the dinosaurs arrived here.
Wow.
And they allowed the dinosaurs to exist because that was one of their food sources.
Wow.
And that food source was wiped out during the Atlantean Lemurian Wars. So this goes back a long time, man. So again, the SSB is not new at all, but it involves everyone and everything in creation.
Yeah, do you feel like a lot more people are being used than what we're hearing about? Like, do you think they've mastered a way to like take people in their consciousness and stuff like that?
They mastered that long before the Anunnaki arrived to this planet. You have to understand, if you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he basically said they use clones. He said he's transferred his consciousness 1,000 times into 1,000 bodies. And the Anunnaki, they do this because on their home planet, Planet X, Planet 10, Planet Nibiru, whatever you want to call it, they went through so much nuclear war, warring with each other to who would run their own planet, that they started killing their own atmosphere, and their ozone was starting to deplete. So they had to put nuclear weapons in their own volcanoes and use volcanism to put ash in the sky to then create an ozone. And the side effect of all this nuclear war was all the males became sterile. So basically, you have a population that can't reproduce. So at that point, they became genetic engineers and mastered genetic engineering, and then started cloning. Because if you want to take over a planet, you don't want to rule a planet and then die and then go to judgment with karma. What you want to do is, instead of dying, upon death, you transfer your consciousness to another body. You do that infinite amount of times. Imagine never having to die and pay for your sins, and going millions of years without having to actually go back to source or experience the karma back. So that's what we're here. There was a call from the Central Sun government. I took that call. I'm from that actual group. I came to this time in this place to put foot to fucking ass and be put in the most torturous programs to see how deep that rabbit hole went. And the more I woke up, the more hypnosis sessions I did, the more I discovered that I truly don't even know who I am. And my story is so complex that even if there was unlimited remote viewing sessions done from everyone around the world, I don't think there would be a complete picture in what I've done and what I'm involved with. And that's what we're seeing in all these QHHT sessions that I'm doing in person. Because it's a lot of SSP stuff. A lot of people come to me, they want to get verified because apparently I built a name of credibility. You know, I use interrogation in QHHT. If you actually watch my hypnosis sessions, keep in mind, no one's even really seen these since 2018. When I tried to introduce them to the public, I was interviewing ex-CIA agents and people in the programs before it was really like very popular, you know? 8 years ago, that's not long ago, but like a lot of people that's new into the SSP, it's under 10 years. So imagine me releasing all this next level information and YouTube deletes and deplatforms me without a warning or strike or nothing, and I couldn't even appeal it. So it took me just till a month ago where I decided maybe it's been enough time. It's been 8 years. I'm starting my YouTube over again. It's right there at the bottom of the screen, YouTube Portal to Another Dimension. I'm like, it's round 2, you know?
Yeah.
I'm creating that timeline in my mind where I don't see the obstacle. I only see the finish line. I only see that I defeated them no matter what I did, period. There is no timeline where I lose, period. Because in the end, I will be returned. I will be taken out of this loop the Draconians keep me in, which is shown in part 1 and part 2 on those hypnosis sessions. They were the last 2 ones. And if you want to watch a really intriguing one, watch the 3rd one right before the last 2. It's with Arkeem Ra. And it was a conversation talking to his alters from the secret space program. And it shows what factions they are. What they have different accents. They have different backgrounds, different memories. I talked to one of his Shar's name in Shakri, which is an extremely powerful being. And the words he said in that session, man, it'll change your life. So
Wow.
imagine that every week I'm surrounded by intergalactic information that never stops. And I keep it all to myself because I don't want to be one of those people. Like I don't like to be the person that's going to tell you what's coming. Because everyone says that. I don't want to jump on that bandwagon. Imagine that I know so much is coming that's been verified with extraterrestrials, QHHT sessions, remote viewing. I know so much, but I will not talk about it with the public. Because I'm not going to be one of those prediction people. But just imagine knowing what I know and the people I'm involved with and what I do. It's some pretty amazing realms, man.
Oh yeah. But one of the things you mentioned was cloning, and it seems like Epstein had his hands in cloning. Like, do you see? And then Arkeem came out with like some pretty amazing stuff about Epstein, about like, you know, that he was tied to some organization called Teachers in Space. Like, have you looked into that at all? And like, do you think that like that Epstein had ties to the SSP? Like, if you had, it seems like he had his hands in everything. You know.
Okay, so the group that's running all that, their direct bloodline is Anunnaki. I can't say the name of that country because it's too controversial. I don't want to get on a hit list or a target list, and it's illegal in Florida to name that country in a negative way. Did you know it's a crime in Florida? That's an arrestable offense now. So I can't name it, but they are the direct descendants of the Anunnaki.
Wow.
And that's why they're doing whatever they want to do right now, and they're running a lot of the SSP stuff, man. You have to realize the Germans, they left in the 40s and 50s to get away from the bankers. They're known as the bankers off-world. They're simply called the bankers.
Wow.
And that's why there's so many off-world German colonies. Like, it got to the point where the Germans started going back in time to their ancestors to find them upon death or take their bodies from the graves, and they would regen these people. And they would pull their consciousness back. Because, like, you can't just take a dead body, take some DNA, make a clone of that body because there's no consciousness behind it. You have to have a user behind the video game. Imagine, like, a clone is you, but it requires your consciousness to turn it on. So government can grow 10,000 clones, but those 10,000 clones will never wake up because there's nothing behind the wheel.
Yeah.
So they mastered this before they arrived to Earth, how to take someone's consciousness from another time and space, take your DNA, clone it, grow it, put you back. This is why the Egyptians were obsessed with mummifying. They wanted their original bodies to last as long as possible, and that's why they surrounded all their bodies with all their possessions, all their gold, everyone they loved, because when they came back, their body would be cloned, their consciousness would go back on the new clone, they would retain their riches, keep doing what they were doing. So that's where this whole Egyptian thing came from with the whole mummification. It's basically it's keeping DNA in a state that is replicable for a long time without degradation. That's why they take the organs out and put it in canoptic jars. You want to save individual parts for cloning reasons. There's no other reason.
Yeah. So in a way that country that can't be named and the Germans, they're working together off world.
No.
You would say. Or no. Okay.
No, they are enemies. They always have been. There are no treaties between them.
Are the Persians or like the Middle Eastern people descendants of the Anunnaki as well, or what would you say? Or would you say like that whole area, or what do you think? Like,
no. Caucasians are the direct descendants of the Anunnaki, specifically from the Caucasus Mountains. Not your average white person like me. I am not from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
The Anunnaki, when they came down around 10,000 years ago, they were getting killed left and right by all these different countries. Everything, because it started in like Babylon, Mesopotamia. Then you had the Akkadians. Then you had the Assyrians. You had all these different breakaway groups, and every single time they attacked the Anunnaki, because back in Egyptian times and Mesopotamian times, the Anunnaki were presenting themselves as gods, literally walking 12 to 15 feet tall amongst the public, along with all these other hybrid beings, like Mott and my TBI. It's just like turning it off right now. It's like my information is getting too complex, and they don't want me to keep going. It just turns off.
I'm trying to think of who.
Sekhmet, Anubis, all these people like John Whitberg. He was one of the original Egyptian gods with Project Ibis, and they found him in time from Montauk. They found that he was the original soul that inhabited. It's like I know his name, but I feel like they keep blocking this right now. Sobek, he was Sobek. And they cloned his body from Egypt. They found the original Sobek DNA, the humanoid big beast guy that's very intimidating. And he had a clone body at part of these projects. So, I mean, it was pretty intense stuff, what they can do. So there is no limitations. Time, like past, present, and future are happening right now. So how can you not go back in time? Because you're not actually going back. You're only changing your frequency to that time. It's like tuning a TV station on, and you need the station to get that exact, like, radio station or something like that. That's all they do. That's what time it is. It's like we're tuning to the hertz of that station. And that's what time traveling is. That's like time fold engines that we use in some of these SSP ships, where basically you don't travel anywhere. You don't have to go interstellar or go through the back door of the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that. You can just literally fold time like an Einstein-Rosen bridge, change your frequency from one frequency to the other, and it basically pulls time to you, and you're there. That's how advanced time travel works. We don't have to. A lot of ships, we do travel to point A or B, but we typically go through hyperspace backdoor, man. That's like the root system of the universe. What you would call the Laniakea supercluster of our local universes and galaxies. It's like the electrical vein system of source, and you can see it. And the end of each nerve cluster, it's like a vein or a root. You'll see when a tree grows, the root keeps growing. So at the end of this root, there's a sun. So imagine right now there's 5 suns, and all these suns are connected to the same root. That's how we space travel really fast. We enter the sun, go through the back door, and that's one way to enter hyperspace.
Wow,
Pretty cool stuff, man. So there's
that
different
is.
levels of SSP factions. There's different levels of technology they use, different levels of space travel they use. It depends. Like you mentioned, Solar Warden. There's also Earth Defense Force. There's also the Joint Defense, JDFC. Like there's all these factions like the Mars Defense Force. There's all these other groups, and
Wow.
there's a ton of factions. A lot of countries in the world have SSPs. A lot of the G20 countries, a lot of them have SSPs. Even the countries you wouldn't imagine, like there's an Indian SSP from India, you know, even Serbian, like John Whitberg talks about in the book series, The Man with the Periwinkle Eyes. And I'm in book 3 through 4, and one of my alters named Yoshiro Surabaya, which is amazing. Like that was just only one of the people that I was at Montauk. I was there as Drago Reid, and in another body, a Japanese body named Yoshiro Surabaya. Imagine what that would be like to me, filtering through these memories of first-person view of seeing these experiences, and I don't know who I am between those two characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And most people at Montauk, they either remember me or they remember Yoshiro. So it's pretty complicated, you know?
Yeah, it really is. I never heard of the Earth Defense Force or the the other one, Joint Defense.
Joint Defense
you know,
Force
like
Command. Yeah, JDFC.
yeah. What's up with that?
Okay, so a subfaction of Solar Warden would be Radiant Glory. That's one.
What are they?
So Solar Warden have certain SSPs that only go so far. So you'll have an SSP that will be from Earth to like maybe Mars or Jupiter. And then you'll have another Solar Warden subfaction from Jupiter to extrasolar, meaning they're responsible for from that planet outwards going extrasolar. So one's a local military defense force, and one is a intergalactic defense force. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Kind of like Kruger and Nachtwaffen, they have all these things. They have local and then interstellar.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, we can take some questions from the audience, guys. That'll be good. Yeah, you guys can put your questions. We could do like a Q&A if you guys want to. You guys always have good questions for Drago. So I'll put, Anchor Haven has a good one. She says, did you get any more memories about Merg, the Merg group or the Merge group?
I'll tell you about those later. And I will tell you, Julia, our story. I will tell you that story one day. It's coming soon. So just wait for it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to release it pre-presentation, so
yeah. Andres Delgado, Chili Man, wants me to ask you about black goo.
Yeah, so black goo doesn't mean evil. Black goo's programmable. So what black goo blue for Nachtwaffen, for example, and Kruger, when you're an officer, you're required to take black goo. And that is requisite from the Draconians. They enforce that with Nachtwaffen and Kruger. They require it. So like a lot of ships within Nachtwaffen, you'll have a Draconian navigator. Because that's part of the agreements. Some of the ships or armadas or fleets will have a human navigator like Penny Bradley. Some will have a gray. So it's a mix between grays, a little bit of humans, and the only reason Penny is a navigator is because she's a Chimera hybrid as well, like me. We were injected with Draconian DNA in vitro and growing up, and that energy is evident with me. Like remote viewing can see the Draconian energy in me, but it's not my origin. It's only for combat, for doing what I do, for domination, for being a tactician, for accessing exotic weaponry. You have to have that DNA signature of a Draconian to access a lot of deep black classified stuff. So I'm talking about when I say classified and deep black, that's different. That's levels. Like classified's up here around the water, and imagine the screen up here is air. This is like the first couple of levels of classified. Deep black is down here. That means a lot of the factions will never see this technology. a lot of the units you're in. A lot of this stuff is so exotic you would have never even seen it. And like what I did as Yoshiro Sarabaya when I was at Montauk, I ran the armory. And when the Draconians actually came and shut that down after it was being ran by Joseph Powell, by Jimmy, his alter, eventually me and John Whitberg went to Cheyenne Mountain Complex, and I continued running the armory there. And I ran the portals, just like at Montauk, just like at Cheyenne Mountain Complex. So imagine, like, I keep meeting people and putting people under that expands the story. So my story, it just constantly changed. Every time I'm starting to write and I think I closed the chapter and I got as much as I can, I have to rewrite it because new information contradicts current information. Because like I say in my presentations, my timeline will not make sense at all, period. Like, imagine being in a time travel program with Project Looking Glass and what happened at Montauk, and you're going back in different times and different clone bodies in different timelines that are our timeline. Now, some people say that it's obviously I'm not from this timeline. If you can remote view me, if you can see my Akashic record, I'm not supposed to be in this timeline. I was put here against my will. And I'm kept here in a loop and a cycle. And it sucks because I'm a soldier, I'm a commander, that's all I know how to do. And keeping me in a life where I'm in a loop where I have to play human and play civilian and play 120-hour work week between 5 jobs, it's insanity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not built for this stuff, but I do it like a monster, like a machine, like a soldier, and I never stop. I sleep 1 to 2 hours a day, and all I do is produce. I'm constantly doing something. I don't have a lot of
like me.
I got to a point where I wasted so much of my life. I looked back and I said, I wasted a lot of my life. And I'm 46 years old now. And I'm to the point, like, I only have maybe, if I'm lucky, double that left. You know what I'm saying?
I feel the same way. I'm the same age as you. I was born in January 11th, 1980. I'm the exact same. I feel the same way. I feel like, you know, I this is totally off the record, but like, I'm just letting the audience know this now. Like, I've been watching a lot of travel shows on YouTube, you know, and I was thinking, man, like I've done like 2,500 shows behind this desk. You know, I'd love to like get out there and just like see the world and take my show with me and build my audience that way and like go places, but like not just do a travel show, but tie into stuff like the Anunnaki, like, you know, everything we learn about, like, you know, like somehow make it like, I don't know, make it different. You know what I mean? To make it different. I don't know. Yeah.
I want to you have to inspire somebody who has money that wants to see what you can produce and how valuable you are. And they will fund you being a co-producer where you are flown around the world to all these amazing people. And you do these interviews in person. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to be doing. People will see how valuable you are with that many podcasts. I don't know anyone who's done that many podcasts, period. Like you do more podcasts than Quaker does oats. That's a lot, man.
But I feel the same way as you, dude.
So like, that's huge, dude.
Do you thank you. Do you feel the need though that like being in 46, like, cause I do, like, do you feel the need like that you want to like accomplish stuff now and you want to like I think I know what you're saying, right? Like with the age thing.
Yeah. So yes, I'm working hard now while I'm young. So by the time I'm 60 or 70, I did all the work I needed to do where I'm taken care of. Yeah. Because if you don't put in all the work now, it's like, everybody says they want to be a healer, but they won't save money to start online school to become a healer. Most of them will never do it. Most of them will never become a psychologist or a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist or a practitioner because they're lazy. A lot of people that get QHHT like level 1, or they're not even level 1, they're like an intern. I don't like when most people, they try to start QHHT, they treat it as like, they don't treat it serious. And a lot of people that I know that do QHHT, they've never done more than 20 sessions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, for example, it means so much to me that, see this award here?
Oh, that is cool.
I was awarded that myself because of the impact I've made on other practitioners and my energy Uh-oh, you guys are getting all kinds of views of my stuff no one's ever seen before. All kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, I forgot what I was talking about.
Those are interesting masks. What are those masks? Those are cool. If you don't mind me asking.
I never show those publicly. Those are my many faces of SS.
Dude, that is so cool. You know, for real.
This is what super soldier armor would really look like. Special access program, meta materials. This isn't real secret space program, obviously. This is actually Batman's costume. But like a lot of our tech, it's like this. You'll see all these different layers of everything's integrated, you know. You would think there'd be like a lot of wires and all this like external technology, but it's really not. It's like built-in sensors, haptic feedback, environmental controls, like it going back to the black goo. A lot of our clones were required to top up on black goo nanites because what it does is not only does it increase your IQ, but it also makes you more aggressive. It makes you more tactician, more military, more left brain reptilian. Because in combat, you don't want to be in a mammalian side. You don't want to operate in the feminine and the love side. You have to operate in dominance. What were we talking about right before that? It has to do with black goo. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
let's say in combat, one of my clone bodies gets its arm blown off. Depending on what level of clone you have, because there's numerous levels by numerous corporations, like Arasaka Roboto, which is the Arasaka Robot Corporation. They have different levels of chassis builds. Like you can call a chassis a clone body. Different chassis has different builds, different needs. Is it built to last for combat for one deployment, which means it's very heavy duty? Or is it designed, or it's not so heavy duty? Or is it built for a 10-year kind of platform? You understand? So there's all these augmentations, but what black goo does, if I get my arm blown off, this black goo nanites will go and start sealing off my wound. It's not going to rebuild my arm like it's a Vin Diesel movie with nanites. They don't do that. There is holographic technology that does that, but it's not real-time building like that. I can have my arm rebuilt in a flash printer in less than 20 minutes, full size. But I have to be there. I can't do that actually in combat. I don't have that printer. They even show it in the movie Elysium with the Kruger program. The main character's name is Kruger. She says, call Kruger. And they call the main guy Kruger. That's Kruger. Integrated technology. Wow. And one thing they never explained in the main character Kruger, he had these cheek implants that were metal. What those are is that's designed to take heavy duty helmet systems and integrated exoskeleton systems. Because if you're running a really heavy, large exosuit, these things weigh more than you can imagine. You can't, it's like I was having a conversation with Jack Flynn yesterday, someone I served with the whole Montauk project and all that Project Ibis stuff. You can't go in a 2-story house in these suits. You will collapse it. Like, you remember in the movie Iron Man, he's coming down, he did his test flight, then he lands on the top of his roof. Yeah. Then the suit just collapses. All the floors, that's what really happens. These suits weigh a lot. And what me and Jack were talking about is like, no one ever talks about, we don't just put these suits on. They require deployment platforms. We have to step with our feet into a mechanical platform and a machine puts it on for us. We can't even take the suit off ourselves. If it gets crushed or something, it's like just like in the Iron Man movie, perfect. He comes back all damaged and everything is short circuiting. You have to do it manually. You have to bring in some scientists and some engineers to remove that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's that complicated. And like the Halo armor, a lot of our SSP stuff looks like that. That Spartan armor, the Spartan program's real. That soft disclosure in your face and everyone's obsessed with it. The two things people are most obsessed with is Call of Duty and Halo. Those are both military programs created by the SSP in order to identify special gifted people for combat. Just like the Talented and Gifted program, the TAG program.
Wow.
They're paying for it all, man. It's all programming. They're teaching us to target acquisition. They're seeing which one of us were soldiers in past lives by how we move. The AI is recording all of our telemetry in the video games. How we move through the level, how we designate a target, how we look at them, how much time we have our body peeking out in plain view of a sniper. You know what I'm saying? When you play a game, there's no difference in which you play it in real life. If I'm clearing a room with CQB in real life, or if it's in a video game, I'm still going to clear it the same way. I'm still going to use left and right-handed techniques. I'm going to go from left to right hand ambidextrously. You know, when you enter a room, you can see an amateur when they're playing online, when they're playing cosplay and shit, because they don't know nothing about true combat, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all I've lived and breathed since I was a child, and before I was even here as Drago Reid in this timeline.
Wow. This question is from Jason. He says, presentation, are you going to bases, the next bases? Are you doing any conferences anytime soon?
Miles has already put me on the speaker list, but I haven't agreed to go yet. And one of my requisites is, if I can't have my entire presentation set in one presentation, I might not go. Because my presentation is a deep dive. This is not for beginners. You can say it's for beginners, but it's geared for your people that's been in this realm for a while. I talk about so many classified projects, and I tell it like a story. I tell it like I'm writing my book, because a lot of this information came from my books that I've been writing for 5 or 6 years straight. So I like to tell it like a story, and I'll read it like a story, and you will feel my emotions when I read it. A lot of people, they have these presentations, they're cool, but like it really lacks that emotional connection you need. And if I can't describe all this stuff to you, and keep in mind, I have a traumatic brain injury. Everybody wants me to do a presentation where it's like a ton of slides and I just talk, but I can't. My memory in my mind is too complex, and I need to tell this story, because I'm realizing all the interviews I've ever done, all the presentations I've ever done, I've never officially done my timeline and said my story not one time. So it's important that if I'm going to do a conference, everybody loves my presentations. Like, you've heard about how many people freaking pass out, get abducted, or get downloads, or something happens in every one of my talks. Like, it's a phenomenon that's happening, and everybody's talking about it, man. Like, even the famous speakers, it happens to them. And when I put them under with QHHT, I find out that they were abducted by the programs, so they couldn't hear what I was saying, because it would have activated their memories. Just like Yemi Janae at the Farside Institute.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was the first year. I remember that.
Yeah, I like to use Yemi as an example, because I think she's one of the most important people on the planet. And when people discover who she really is and what she did in Lyra, I think it's going to change history, man. So yes, it's even happening. And like me and Yemi, like, we're from the same soul group. We've had a lot of lifetimes together. It's been shown in the QHHT session I did on her, and we might release it to the public and just kind of, edit out sensitive private stuff. But if that ever gets released to the public, man, people are going to be like, holy crap, man. Because you're going to see a lot of the high-level assets, like Daniel, is it Sala? No, sorry. Daniel DeStevens. His session, man, he's definitely SSP, so was brother. They came to my house. We talked about this during the hypnosis sessions. We verified their grandpa was SSP, involved with the programs. But with Daniel, they literally came into my room, in my living room. They prevented him from speaking. It was intense.
Wow.
So, like, a phenomenon of getting a session with me, if you're high level, all kinds of things can happen during my sessions. And if you had a session with me, I'm pretty sure all you guys are smiling right now, because I don't do regular boring sessions. Like I said, like, I use the Socratic method. I constantly ask questions. I constantly go deeper. And that's why I'm good at consultations. I wanted to talk about consultations today. I do 1-hour Zoom consultations. If you want to tell me your story about what happened to you, you need to know if you were a MyLab or SSP. I have a very specific checklist of questions that I ask people if you want to know if you're in the programs. And I can help you identify obstacles, the cycles, why you can't get out of the problems you're experiencing, the job issues, the relationship issues. I can use QHHT to diagnose a lot of that, and it is freaking accurate and scary. Just using symptomology. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's getting pretty known that my consultations, people clearly see that I'm psychic. And when we're having these conversations, we're using telepathy. So the client's obviously telling me stuff from a higher level they don't understand, including their higher self. So I pull stuff out of them that most people don't know. And that's why these consultations are so powerful, and how they can start an awakening, make you start questioning, or make you leave something that's traumatic. And I recommend consultations for people that can't necessarily just come to me now for a hypnosis session, because Dolores Cannon said she wanted all QHHT sessions to be in person only. So unfortunately, I can't do it online. But I will be doing Beyond Quantum Healing. I'm going to try to get my butt in gear and allocate some time, because again, I work about 120 hours a week. So I'm going to try to start doing some Beyond Quantum Healing, and like some I've been creating a hypnosis style for a while, because when you see my hypnosis sessions, Julia Anchorhaven, you said that you see how QHHT is different during my sessions and how I move my hand in the body and the body reacts. That's not QHHT. That's stuff I've learned in other lifetimes, when I was a healer, stuff I learned when I was in Egypt at the Temple of Edfu, when I was one of the bloodline-born priests, and one of my main jobs was to heal the divine feminine rift that the males did when they came here, when the Anunnaki arrived. It made it really patriarchal. And I could see the energy in that lifetime. I could scan your body. I could look through your body. I could see your chakras. I could see everything. Just like modern Akashic record readers or remote viewers, they could see it. But imagine that thousands and thousands of years ago, without technology. And everybody was taught this, at least the secret society of priests. And that goes all the way back to at least Atlantis. They were doing that at Atlantis, but the Atlanteans, they got a little greedy, and they started charging the public to heal them. And that's when the Atlanteans started going to really service to self, and they didn't really start when Enki and his son Thoth were running Atlantis. They were creating so many hybrids that they started putting them to death in the Colosseums. So all these innocent beings would have to fight to death in the Colosseums. Imagine like a half human, half horse hybrid, or a half human, half spider, or a spider with a human head and human arms. These hybrids that were created, man, they live in perpetual pain because they were experiments, and they had to fight to the death. So,
Wow.
like, this is what the Atlanteans have been doing. Like, they are from Atlantis. That is where all this comes from. They came down, and the Lemurians were already here before they came, at least 500,000 years ago. So understand, we were just talking about these other genetic experiments. There was already humans existing here, and we were called Homo sapiens before the Anunnaki came. And when they mixed their DNA with us around 200,000 years ago, we became Homo sapiens sapiens. That's why it's, let's create man in our image, in our likeness. We look like the Anunnaki. So other humans and other planets, they don't look like us. They look subtly like us, humanoid, but not like humans, you know? So the rabbit hole gets really deep, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was a question from Puck Elf. He wants to know, is Duke Nukem based on a true story?
I don't remember the story of that video game. I never actually played it. Maybe if he can write in the comments what it was about or something, you tell me. Oh, but also, I can't see the live chat because I'm stuck in StreamYard, and when I tried to get over to YouTube, I kept hearing an echo.
Yeah,
So
dude, I'll tell you what. I'm getting rid. I think I'm getting rid of StreamYard after what happened today. It's like I can't take it anymore. Like it did what it did to you in my last show too, and then I don't want people thinking that I'm doing that to them. And you know what I mean? It's like it's definitely StreamYard. It's and I pay, and you pay for this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It's really unprofessional. It's yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry, is Duke Nukem based on like advanced classified technology for soldiers involving nuclear weapons and technology that doesn't exist with your average soldier? Then I would say yes. It's based on what you would say secret space program exploits from around the galaxy. Just like the entire Star Wars series, it's based on Nachtwaffen. They are the Empire. That's why they dress all the Empire and everyone on ship just like the Germans dress.
Would the SSP experiencers be the rebels then, basically, kind of?
The rebels are separate from the program. So the only way to become a rebel is if you break free from the programming and the factions, and then you fight the programs that were keeping you programmed like I did.
Yeah.
That's why I formed the Rebel Collective, because we are the rebels fighting the Empire. We have to realize this is intergalactic. We have to take our power back. We can't sit here and expect politicians to give us all the things we've ever wanted. They're not going to do it. Most all of them are compromised by the Anunnaki. Yeah. That's why the Anunnaki runs all the surveillance programs on the planet. This is why they run Black Cube, which is, I can't get technical because I would name the military units and that would name the country, but they're the Anunnaki, man. You know?
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's Carrie Cassidy says it too. She says Carrie Cassidy says, that the Anunnaki run that country over in the Middle East. And other people say that too. It's interesting that yeah. This is from Brooke. Some of these questions are. She says, "Do you feel like you have a craft hidden somewhere?"
I mean, they're not hidden. Yeah. Ileana, the Star Traveler, or Elka, she made this book. It's a remote viewing about me, and it's about 3 of my clones on one ship, and one of my command roles named Commander Jace Merrick. That's one of my alters in a clone body. And there's 2 other characters, and it talks about a lot of my ships. Everybody seems to remember about 4 of my ships. That one, there's all kinds. There's the Revenant Shadow, which is the NSS Revenant Shadow, and that means the NSS means Nacht Krieg or Night War stealth ship. That means that's deep black classified. I have the Vanth, or what you would call the Erebus. Some of you guys in the SSP might remember the Erebus. That's one of my command ships. You might have heard of the Guardian, which is a Lyran ship. It's ancient. It's very old. I was given command of that ship only because my DNA and the ship gave me that command. Up till that point, that ship was docked. It didn't respond to anybody because it requires the DNA or from a very specific ancient command chain. And I had that command chain DNA and signature when I was in Lyra. And that's why I was on the royal court when the Draconians invaded. You don't have to believe me. You can remote view it. Yemi Janae was the queen of Lyra when they invaded. Wow. And the role I had was very important. And that's how, when all that happened, they're starting to invade our planet. I had to give up my life in order to save Yemi so she can get away. And I told her in the end, before I died, that I'll blow up my crystal array that controlled the planetary harmonics and the balancing of this holographic projection in reality. Because they would eventually weaponize the same type of system with Maldek Tiamat when they exploded it. They used the same crystal array that blew up that planet. And that's what they wanted. They wanted my crystal array. It could be turned into a weapon. But anyways, I told her, since I have a Guardian class, Architect class soul, I'm going to get past the Draconian oracles. I will incarnate as a high-ranking Alpha Draconian general, and I'll go to the top of the houses. And I'll build my pedigree over time. And the way I did that, I was extremely brutal. If you can remote view my Draconian Alpha Draconian, he's extremely brutal. He's known as the one that conquers worlds. And that's not something to say lightly. He's the one that will make examples out of people and really rise ranks, Yeah. And in part 1, Susan Schatzer, she was somebody I had to mate with in part 1 when I had my Draconian Alpha body, because we were trying to crack the Sophianic energetic code, and we mated together and we produced 12 offspring, and the Draconians killed all 12 because they realized that spark, that divine feminine energy, that Sophia wasn't fully active in that DNA chain, so they just killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, you can find this book, Command Nexus. Just take a screenshot of that or something. You can find that on Amazon. And Ileana, I think she's releasing book 2 of a lot more remote viewings and some amazing stuff. So it's pretty cool stuff, man. I like to say, I don't like to tell you the details. I say remote view it, because I'll let you remote view certain things. When I say you can remote view these things, don't think there's not psionic blocking and all kinds of stuff being used to prevent you from going so far. So that's obvious when you get in my energy. Like a lot of people have told me that when they get into the remote viewing me, some of it's so exhausting because my energy field is intense.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say you have an intense energy field, you know, but you've always been really cool with me, you know, like you've been like always like, you know, like, like I was thinking, I remember when that first year at I say this all the time, but it's funny. Like I remember that first year I got the full disclosure now, and like I was looking for my hotel room, and
we were this far away when you turned that corner, when that elevator door opened.
Yeah. You and Matthew Mornian were there. You were the first 2 people I saw. I was like, oh shit, this is like a family reunion. You know what I mean? Dude, does anybody know, is Brian having it this year? Is he not? I guess he's not having it, or what? Like,
no. There was a venue that was supposed to have been bought. Deal didn't go through, so I think it's on hold for now. And he's looking for another venue, and he wants to do it smart. The smartest thing to do is to buy a venue.
Yeah.
So you don't get charged $50,000 to host a conference at a hotel and have to be forced to buy $30,000 worth of food as part of that deal.
Yeah,
that's
really.
a common thing at conferences. It's like they don't allow you to have catering. They don't have people. They won't allow external food groups to come in. It's such a scam, man. So if you could buy your own kind of standalone building, you're not operating with these resort roles, and you can really kill it, man, because you can charge cheaper because you're not being forced to pay $30,000 just for food. You know?
I think what I'm doing is I'm having an event like soon, or I don't know when. I'm talking to someone, that one of my audience members, that like we're talking about it. I'm gonna have an event maybe here in Pennsylvania. Like my friend has a bed and breakfast. It seats like 60 people. You know what I mean, or something like that. And it would be perfect. I think she said 60 people, but I got to talk to her more. But like, I'm really thinking about doing it. Like just like for the people who really want to come, and like, I don't know, like. And it would be cheaper to do it that way, because then you don't have to, like just exactly like you said, like the food. This is a really good question. This is a controversial question, though. It says from Jacob Cook. He says, "Is the Galactic Federation working for our liberation, or have they been infiltrated?"
Both. The Galactic Federation could have saved us a long time ago. They could have rescued us from the Anunnaki 200,000 years ago. They could have rescued us 50,000 years ago. They could rescue us now, but they don't. They leave us at the whim of the Anunnaki and the Draconians, and they've been allowing it for a long time. And that's why a lot of us are fed up. And that's why we take out some of these Galactic Council members, because a lot of them are bad guys. And a lot of them don't care about life. They care about deals and treaties. And only if those deals and treaties are active.
Yeah.
So everybody thinking the Galactic Federation's love and light, it's not, man. It's like everybody think the SSP is like Star Trek Generations. It's all a bunch of cool people constantly rescue missions and saving this and say, no, it's not, man. It's about conquest and domination. That's what every faction battles for. This is why Kruger and the Germans fight the Anunnaki and the Anunnaki people. It's constant war. Everybody wants control, and a lot of these elite families have treaties and agreements from stuff above their purview. So it gets very complicated, man.
Yeah.
But again, there's no situation where the light doesn't win, period. We're coming to the part where we're in Gog versus Magog, and it literally says evil loses.
So, you mentioned that the other day when I think when I had either Arkeem or Penny on, you were in the chat, like, and you mentioned that, like, what does that mean, the Gog versus Magog? Do you think that like people are trying to manifest like an end times like world prophecy or something like that?
Yeah, basically what they did when they Okay, so like a lot of people don't know that The Simpsons is ran by the CIA, and it's run by the classified program. It's a sub program of Project Looking Glass. So what they do is they remote view the future, and they can see what's happening. So in order to make that timeline coming to this timeline and make it the alpha timeline, they project a hologram onto the humanity, a delusion, an illusion that is programming, and they're showing you exactly how it's going to take part, everyone involved, and they even show it in The Simpsons. They depict people 20 years in the past, like 20 years ago. They're depicting what people look like right now in the events they were involved in with the clothes they were wearing right now 20 years ago. What were we talking about just now? I lost my train of thought.
The Simpsons and how it's ran by the CIA.
So what was the core question? We were talking about predictive programming, self-disclosure.
It was the Galactic Federation. Like, are they good? But then like it transitioned into this. But this is a good follow up. Like to talk about series, because this one was from Syl, and she says what are some good movies to watch? And I would say even series. We could throw series in that. Like, are there any like really good ones that are tied to the SSP that like,
I always like to say Altered Carbon. That's one of my favorites. Season 1, not season 2. When they changed the main character, I think everybody just didn't like the character casting choice of season 2, and that ruined it for me. But the information in it's next level. Star Wars, it's a history of Earth and the cosmos. Thundercats, it's a series about the Lyran versus the Draconian Wars. They were showing that us in the 80s. All the cartoons, all this stuff, it's all disclosure, man. They're showing you what's real, and it's part of the revelation of the method. That's what the Illuminati calls it. That's the Anunnaki. They have to tell you what they're doing. And they have to cloak it in science fiction and make you think it's just make-believe, but they're showing you what's real through parody, through animation, through programming. That's it.
Yeah.
Orphan Black's a good one. Both me and Julie Anchorhaven's files show that we are the core characters of Orphan Black, and she's the main character in Orphan Black. And I'm basically her brother. Me and Julia, we share the same DNA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like literally brother and sister. When they had us at the Monarch Dome in Toronto, we were paired together. We were tortured together.
Wow.
We ran operations together. She would be my eyes from above. I'd be on the ground doing my mission, and she would be my watchtower, my eyes in the sky, my person on ship, help relaying information back and forth. And it got to the point where we were linked telepathically, so she could see through my eyes in combat, and vice versa. So when we were tortured together, we shared that pain together. If they tortured me, she felt the pain. If they tortured her, I'd feel the pain.
Yeah.
Which is what they call twinning. Everybody, some people focus on twinning thinking it's literal twins. Joseph Mengele, the angel of death in Auschwitz, he's one of the main reasons the German SSP even exists. Because he broke the human mind, created the original techniques for the MK Ultra torture. Got that from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Got that from ancient manuscripts from Atlantis. It showed how to break a human soul. I'm sorry, the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
I think it's like spell 116, spell 113. It's 100 and something in the early. It shows how to create alters in human beings and turn them into programmable slaves. And it also talks about that in the book. The Illuminati Formula to Create an Undetectable Mind Control Slave by Cisco Wheeler and Fritz Springmeier. And I don't recommend assets to read that lightly, because there's a disclaimer in the beginning of that book. It's going to activate your programming. If you want to know you're in the programs, that's one way to know if you're in the programs. But the information located within that book is why I'm so successful in what I do in QHHT now. Because I now know how the archetypes work. I know a lot of the back doors. I know a lot of the traps. I know the reasons for the programming, the security engineers that step in, if you access too much information, how not to activate Omega programming. I've done over 900 sessions. I've never even came close to activating Omega programming in an asset. And most military assets have Omega programming, and that's self-destruction, suicide programming. If I get too deep, they're going to start seeing blood red in their visual field. They're going to start looking for a weapon as fast as possible to kill themselves and kill me. As fast as possible. That's what happens with Omega. So you have to be careful, man. People getting into this QHHT realm want to do SSP, and they're like, I want to be known for that, and I want to get into that. Be careful, man. The CIA will be there. Oracles will be there that work for the government. They're going to be watching your sessions. You're going to have handlers watching you. You're going to have handlers inserted into your life, appearing as friends. A lot of stuff's going to start happening, and we're seeing this with these regressions. So all you guys doing QHHT that are treating this where you're not realizing there's a level of danger involved, stop being naive. If you're doing this and you feel like you're getting targeted out of nowhere, you can't sleep, you're getting all these pains, issues are happening, it's for a reason. It's not random. This is why if you can't get a consultation from me or get a QHHT session from me in person, I always recommend my team of people that we all help with, people I've served with. You have Christy Campbell, Sean Bond, Amir Jahangiri. I recommend them three every single time. They all three remote view in ways that most people can't do. And they can answer a lot of your questions directly just from their just from their viewings. And they're pretty next level, man. So like, we're bringing our classified training and skills to the public, and you can really benefit from that big time.
Yeah. We'll do maybe one or two more questions. So this is from Andreas Chili Man. He says, what's Drago's view of the now? And he says, how do we need to prep? Or do we need to prep?
Like I said earlier, we're in historical biblical prophecies right now. So these ancient remote viewers like Edgar Casey, he was basically just a remote viewer before he even knew what remote viewing was. Everybody think, it's a psychic named Edgar Casey. He was a remote viewer. He like Nostradamus. They taught us this in the secret in the secret priest class, because I had Anunnaki blood in that priest bloodline. Because I was one of the main priests at the Temple of Edfu, which is the Temple of Thoth. So like, that's a pretty big deal. But those ancient DNA codes in your blood and having that blue blood signature in your blood, man, it gives you access to the magical realms. So a lot of these people in the Illuminati, these celebrities that are direct descendants, a lot of them have psychic gifts that they hide from the public because of their direct bloodline connection to the Anunnaki, because they keep that pretty pure. That's why they interbreed with each other. Because if you start diluting the blood, you start diluting the psychic gifts. And that's why they torture their children the most. They program their children the most. They SA their children the most, because with programming and torture, it activates your gifts and your abilities. They show this in the X-Men series. Every superhero origin story typically starts with a major trauma, and then you awaken. These abilities come out of nowhere. You don't know what they are, and then boom, you got to figure out how to control them from that moment. That's what they did to us kids, and a lot of the kids never survived. They admitted, I think it was Al Bielek admitted that over 600,000 kids were ran through Montauk at the Montauk Air Force Base at Camp Hero Air Force Base. Wow. So imagine the revolving wheel of you seeing the kids come down the stairs, getting sprayed down with the water hoses before they enter, and then put in the cages. And in Montauk, you were lucky, because sometimes if they didn't have a lot of kids, they would stagger the cages. So like, every cage was, I'll just draw it real quick. Every cage was stacked like this. You would see a common stack of 2, but what they would do is sometimes when they couldn't fill them all, they put a kid here, then they put a kid here, then they put a kid here, then they put a kid here. So when this kid poops, He doesn't shit or piss on the kid below him. So like that's the reality we had to endure. And that's the reality of mind control programs. There's no human rights. There's no what you would think going to the bathroom would be a human right. There are no rights. You're property. You're owned, literally owned by the military and the U.S. government.
Wow, that's horrible, man.
Yeah.
And then it really is. It's like wretched, you know. It really is. It's like it's that's why I said I wonder like if we'll ever get full disclosure, but it makes me think we never will because I don't think they'll ever want to disclose that they've been doing these things like, you know, because with disclosure actual full disclosure comes the full Monty, like secret space program, targeted individuals, Black Ops programs, you know, Montauk, My Labs, you know, all the whole shebang, you know, like, but like, do you think we'll ever see anything where we get that, like, you know, like public awareness of it?
Full disclosure of all the crimes, all the technologies, all the black programs is not possible. You would have to educate the public for 500 years. And you would have to extend the lifespan of the human population in order to understand and integrate that amount of information and reverse programming. So, like, no, there will definitely be disclosure. They will definitely announce that there's adults who like kids and they like doing things to kids and they like bringing them to dinner, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So like that's coming out. It's coming up in the Epstein stuff. Like they're talking about the clone connection, like you asked earlier. I never answered that question. So yeah, he was involved in all kinds of cloning stuff, which is directly being funded by the Anunnaki. Because remember, the Anunnaki created that country. You understand? So they have all the money, period. Most of the people that run the planet are only allowed to run the planet because they were given permission to. So presidents, prime ministers, premiers, they weren't elected through democracy. A lot of them are literally connected to either the Freemasons or the Jesuits or the Anunnaki direct bloodlines or off-world bloodlines. No one who rules a country or anything is randomly selected by the public. That's not how it works. And besides, almost everybody that are the candidates, almost all of them are part of the bloodline. So no matter who you vote for, you're voting for someone in the bloodline. You know? Just like the little girl, Bridget DeSavignon. She was 13 when she discovered, and it got on the news. It got really big. She discovered that all presidents but one are all connected to the Anunnaki. Every single one except for Martin Van Buren, the president, because he was Dutch. But that was a marriage of Dutch bloodlines into the Anunnaki bloodline. That was one circumstance out of every presidents we've had since 1776. So that would be major if you think about it. One external family.
Do you think that's why we have such a connection to that country over in the Middle East? Because we have an Anunnaki connection, the United States and that country?
They created it. The Anunnaki created the United States. That's why almost all their presidents were all 33rd degree Freemasons, including George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and the founding fathers. It was Adam Weishaupt, a Jesuit professor, that actually brought that to the United States, backed by the Freemasons. The Freemasons are the Anunnaki. They are the people of Enlil, direct descendants of Enlil and the Canaanites. And they're the people of Edom. That's what they were really going by before they were known as the Orsini family. Before they started marrying below them the Orsinis and they created the Rockefeller and Rothschilds. The Rothschild bloodline is the paternal line of the Orsini family and the maternal line is the Rockefellers. So you're the two biggest families running the planet. And they're both Anunnaki. It's kind of like the three popes. Everybody focuses on the white pope. They think he's powerful. He's like the George Zimmerman of suits for a corporation. He's like the CEO, but people puppeteer the CEOs. The CEO is the only main public position of a corporation. Then there's unseen positions, kind of like 33rd degrees in Freemasonry. Those are just the public levels. There's classified levels. There's at least 13 levels above the 33rd. And at the 33rd degree, you see that you're basically worshiping darkness. and not Yeshua, or what you would say is a good God. You know, that's why they never name God when you take your oath becoming a Freemason. You're not allowed to name what God you are, what you are. You start relation in the very end, you start seeing that you're worshiping Baphomet and Baal and all that stuff. Moloch. That's not good, man. You know, it's charities created to raise money to control the narrative. They created philanthropy in order to cover up their crimes, so they can dilute their money through NGOs across the world and donate their money. It's like whenever a billionaire is about to die, you see that he donates his money to the public, to these NGOs. He's taking his public self, getting the tax write-off in the end that'll benefit his family, and it's going right back to his family that own the NGOs.
Wow.
So in the end, they're writing history by saying this person was an amazing person. He did this, he did that. Look into how many celebrities co-own hospitals and how many elites own hospitals. Look into the investigation into what happens at those hospitals. You know what I'm saying? Human trafficking, human sacrifice, organs. Like, it's pretty dark, man. You know?
It is. And I feel, you know what I feel bad for? I feel bad for like all the parents that like, you know, they never see their kids again. You know what I mean? I mean, it's bad enough for the people of the kids that they get to come home and they're like tortured. You know, that's horrible. But like, then there's the parents that actually will never see their kids again. And now they're finding out. Those parents are probably finding out what happened. You know, they're finding out about the Epstein files, and they're like, was my kid, you know, and they can probably put stuff together. Like, you know, we're finding out that like a lot of these kids were trafficked through photography. You know, like they would take the school pictures or you know, modeling and stuff like that. And like, you know, it's like the parents are probably starting to put two and two together, you know, and like they're, you know, they can probably trace their a missing child that they have to this crime syndicate of pedophiles. You know, it's sick. You know, it's really insane.
You know what? Why is there no major remote viewing project to start a corporation where major remote viewers around the world are paid to locate your missing child? They did it on the Maury Povich show, on all these old Rosie O'Donnell shows. They've done it since the 80s and 90s. Why don't we officially use military assets to start finding where these kids are and start actually... My mind's getting hit.
Making a difference. You're saying, yeah, you're saying, yeah.
Why is nobody doing? No, only small groups of people are doing that. There's no major thing. There's no Farsight Institute to find kidnapped kids or people in these programs. No, there's no large groups doing it. It's a handful of small people, no more than 10 people at a time or a group. You know, why is there no coalition that's been formed amongst us? Am I the first person that's ever bringing this out to people? Like, come on, guys. Like, think outside the damn box. Everyone's lazy. No one's truly doing anything to benefit the planet. You could travel, go from presentation to presentation, but what are you actually doing? If you remote view me, you see what I'm doing behind the scenes. You see I'm saving people and saving kids. You can believe it or not. I don't care about your opinion. I'm not here to see if you want to believe me. I give 2 Fs if you believe me or not. You know, why are all these books written about me, about remote viewers, seeing all this happening? You think if this was in my head, if I was crazy, that all the remote viewers are seeing it and no one is coming out publicly and saying I'm lying through the remote viewing projects? You know what I'm saying? I challenge everybody, remote view it. When I do my presentations, I'm like, don't believe me. Learn how to remote view, learn what remote viewing is, and look yourself.
Hell yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
But everybody's being lazy. Everybody wants to rely on external information. What is this person saying? What is this person saying? Stop listening to the old guard. I don't want to name any of the old guard right now because I would make enemies right now. But if the old guard, the famous gatekeepers of ufology, the SSP, anybody talking about ET stuff, if any of them have never been shadow banned, had their website deleted or removed, ever had their Patreon removed, they are paid by the CIA, period. That's why they have such a large following. That's why no one's ever challenged them publicly. And guess what, man? all this old guard, they are not experiencers. They never experienced these program or projects. Why the hell are they so famous when they don't even know what they're talking about? People are just telling them stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're the ones that should be on this world stage. Stop not allowing SSP at your conferences. If you're listening to this right now and you run a conference, shame on you for trying to make your conference all love and light and not tell the truth to the public about what's really happening. Because guess what? History's going to remember who you are. They're going to see that you put out a certain narrative and you truly did nothing. You only probably made money. You made no change whatsoever. I'm willing to die for this. I'm willing to talk about what really happens. In almost every conference I do, they hit me in ways you don't know, Rob. You may have heard what happened to me at one conference, either by me or by other people that experienced that shit. That's real. They physically hurt me. Why would they physically hurt me if all this isn't real? You know what I'm saying? So
Speaking of this, I don't know if I talked to you. I think we might have talked about this. This is the last question I have for you. Like, did you have any thoughts on James's death? Like, and Renetta too. Renetta, it seems like both James and Renetta were targeted, but like, I know you knew James more. Like, do you think James was hit with a direct energy weapon, or like, what do you? I mean,
my opinion's too controversial to say what I truly feel.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't ready to accept it.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Yeah. Well, rest in peace, James. He, I miss him.
But
do.
They definitely caused that. Everybody is focusing on it was actual health reasons, but you don't understand that. It's like, how do I say this without saying it? It's so hard, because I fainted someone lately and they didn't think about it until that moment. And it sucks, but I just can't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
they were involved. Yes, it was real health problems, but it was set up to be that way. So if that's a confirmation, it's a confirmation. Getting back to the prep with Andres Delgado, start getting food and water, man. Get a generator. Stuff's coming to the United States. We're going to be hit with false flags. More than likely, certain countries that we can't name are going to hit us, and they're going to blame it on other countries. And Tampa, the one that's running the war right now in Iran, the company that's running that is only 20 minutes away from me, and it's called US SOCOM, United States Special Operations Command, and CENTCOM. That's Central Command. It's ran out of MacDill Air Force Base. And I work like 6 or 7 miles from it in Ybor City in Tampa. So like that can be an epicenter if they hit us, because all the war, everything with President Trump, it's all being ran from MacDill Air Force Base. So that's heavy. But just understand the intel I've been getting, there's going to be false flags. Because we invaded Iran, we shouldn't have done that. Because we did that, we're going to start getting hit in ways we will not foresee. And they will be activating cells around the United States.
I was going to ask you about that, sleeper cells. Do you think that like Iran has sleeper cells here? And like, I mean, it's so hard to differentiate between like a sleeper cell attack and like a false spike, for example. Okay, like this is a perfect example. There was this guy. I don't know if you heard about this. I posted on it on Facebook. Maniac, some fucking maniac. He had a property of a law T-shirt on, right? He goes up in a bar in Texas. This was right when the war started. He murdered 13 people with it. He shot 13 people, or I think he shot 4 people. And he injured 13 more. You know what I mean? And he said it was because of the Iran war. But like we don't know if that was a false flag, if he was like a Manchurian candidate, MK Ultra, or if he was a real someone who was pissed about the war and he was from, a jihadist or something, or whatever.
You know what we need to do as super soldiers and psychics and oracles and empaths? We need to create a coalition of people that are experiencers that can start a project that we update every month. and we start remote viewing all these people who is actually just crazy and who is being puppeteered by the government to do these things, we should start releasing these results. Future forecasters does it, but you have to pay for it. Like, I love them guys as a remote viewers, but like they don't show you nothing, and it's frustrating. You know, you're lucky to get a 5-minute video of something you have to pay for, and they tell you superficial. And how is that helping the world, man? You're literally doing this to make money. Like, come on, man. Like, we should be getting together doing this for the freaking world, man.
Yeah.
Again,
Absolutely.
Remote view where these kids are going, how we can save them. If you've been kidnapped or your kid's missing, they need to start contacting us. There needs to be a website created. There needs to be a board of directors. There needs to be an official corporation created so we can attract all the talent of all the rebels. To the point where we remote view it so much in our own people involved that we make sure those people are incontrovertible like me. Where you can't be bought, you can't be blackmailed, and you're not going to go dark to try to do this for money. We can simply remote view your mind if that's what kind of person you are. We can remote view your future of you doing that. A lot of us in the SSP were dangerous because we can see those things. So just intention-wise, if you're following some of us and you're acting like our friend, we've already started projects to actually remote view you and to scan your intentions, just like we do at every presentation I do now. It is now a part of my operational security that the moment my presentation starts, I have remote viewers around the world remote viewing the audience to see who's there with harmful intentions, or who might have handheld directed energy weapons, or who might be using intentions or crystals or something someone was sent. Like, you see that at all these conferences, you have all these assets that were activated. And it's to the point where I don't even like shaking people's hands at the conferences anymore, because you can transfer intentions just from a handshake. And they teach us that in the programs. A lot of this black magic dark stuff, like, and I'm getting Freemason handshakes constantly at these conferences. And I do not like it at all, man. Like, if you're going to come to me and do a tiger paw on me, I'm going to be suspicious of you from that point on. Don't do that handshake at me. Do not do those black program handshakes on me, because at that point, you just got on my shit list. And please don't come touch me on the back shoulder. I know that seems innocent, but that's a programming cue from a handler.
Yeah.
You know, it's to the point where if I date somebody, I've got to tell them to please be careful if I have not, and it takes years to be in a bed with somebody to not react with PTSD like I'm in combat. Like, sometimes if you touch me when I'm sleeping, I will react. My body reacts faster than my mind before my mind comes back to my body, wherever I was. If I was in a dream, if I was unconscious, if I was in another clone body, I've realized that when that happens, I see in night vision the moment I open my eyes in complete darkness. It's like seeing infrared. I see everything like human. I can see the light body. It's like solid white, you know? And it happened, you know? It sucks, man, to live that way. And it takes years to not react anymore, because you actually feel safe. You feel that pattern with that person, you know? You know, we're not regular people, man. All we've known is trauma and combat. So, like, give us a break, you know? Just telling this story is dangerous. Just telling the story publicly, we're already part of the TIRAP program with targeted individuals, man. Like, do you think we want to do this? Like, we lose a lot. We lose our friendships. We lose everyone that loves us. Everybody looks at us like we're freaking crazy, man. Like, do you know what that's like to live like that way most of your life, where you try to tell your story and everybody just doesn't believe you? It just makes you get to the point where you stop telling people, because you get tired of the fluoride stare. You get tired of the look people give you when they think, this person believes what he's saying, but he's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the people don't understand, you know. Yeah. Well, dude, this was an amazing interview, man. I know you're busy. I know you're busy. We went about an hour and a half. I don't want to keep you much. I don't want to.
If you want, we can go longer if you want, or we can do a show next time. It doesn't matter to me. It's a good conversation. So I know there's a lot of unanswered questions. I know that. I can't see them because I'm on StreamYard, but like when I scanned over a while ago, I see that there was a ton of shit there, you know?
If
So,
you want to do another one, we could do another one soon, like where we just do a Q&A and we just go right from Jump Street and just answer everybody's questions. We could do,
I'm
if we,
down, man.
yeah, if you want
Yeah,
to, we can do that.
I like the frequency of this conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, me too. Yeah,
And it
hell
sucks
yeah.
to just cut it off. So everybody in the end, the whole prep question, guys, store on gasoline, buy long-term food like rice and dry beans, because I promise something's coming that you're not going to see coming. And I saw this coming before I moved from Texas in 2015. I told everybody this was going to happen. I told everybody this shit would be released. The whole Epstein stuff, I've been talking about it for 20 years. Not necessarily Epstein, but the whole thing minus naming. A lot of people's been named lately. I've been talking about it forever, and I knew this was coming. I knew about the economy crashing. I knew about it all, man, because all of our intelligence that kept coming through these QHHT sessions kept telling me over and over and over. And the more I told people, it's just like they weren't ready yet.
I gotta ask you this question because this is I gotta bring this up. So did you see that there was like Billy Carson came out. I know you follow Billy. Like he came out with a memo today. He said supposedly this was released by the DOJ, and he was showing the actual files, and it had to do with DJT. And supposedly a 13-year-old girl, and somehow Robin Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous was in there, and it was like, dude, like the things they were saying was horrific. And the reason why I don't want to say the guy's full name is because like he's a prominent person, and like, it can't be verified yet. And like, or I don't know if it can be like we don't have evidence yet, but I mean, if it's real, man, it's like damning. And I would recommend everybody go to Billy Carson's page and check out what he released today. Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I had to wait. Honestly, I've always been a Billy Carson fan, to the point where I invested in his company a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Billy made a bunch of promises to his investors, and I haven't seen a dollar of my return since I invested over I think it was around 7,000 shares to his company.
Wow.
And no one's been paid a single dime. There's been no dividends. Every message that I've ever messaged to him I got one response lately, is because it gets to the point where I'm like, do I need to get an attorney to get my money back? Because when we helped launch his company, he made a bunch of promises. And it got to a point where after about 100 messages between Instagram, his website, and his email, not a single person returned my information. And I got automatic email responses. You know how frustrating that is, to believe that much into somebody. And I follow that dude at conferences everywhere. I bought all his stuff. But at this point, I'm not seeing what I invested in. And I want to know where my investment is and where my money is at, because I'm not rich. I had to go through 2 different money raising things to do that. I mean, not to raise the money they offer the shares at a certain time, and you have this amount that you can buy for a share per offer. And I bought in the first couple shares, but it's frustrating. Everyone's ignored me. And it's to the point where I'm like, man, I had to unfollow his Instagram and Facebook, because I gave him almost everything I owned.
Tiffany makes a good point here. I got to bring this up, Jago, because he should be giving you your money back. Because look what Tiffany says. Tiffany says, but Carson goes on luxurious trips around the world, that's absolutely true.
That, you know what? That is the biggest thing that investors talk about, that they're upset about, because all Billy does is travel the world and spend all our money. And he's buying a new Rolls Royce every couple of years, and he has people driving him around. So I'm frustrated now, because I've been following this dude for at least 12 years. before he was even famous, before he even was even speaking at Contact in the Desert. And for me to be ignored on every social media and email to the point where I'm worried about my money because there is no plan. You know, I should have been paid dividends. And the fact that I was lied to about being paid dividends and how much the company would be worth per share, that Billy and Elizabeth said in numerous videos. So I'm not here to talk crap about forbidden knowledge. I love Billy. I love his company. But I want to see a little bit less opulence and a little bit less of you flaunting your life around while the people that invested into you from the trenches and the dirt hills that believe in you, and we've received nothing in return. So I'm pretty freaking bitter over it, man.
See, that's what the problem is. Like, because as a community, we should all be united. And if people didn't do stuff like that, like what he did to you and other people, it would be easier for us to be united. But because of his actions, it causes strain within the community. And there's other things going on like this in the community, and that's a problem we have, within the community. And it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? That's all on him. As far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty.
And it's to the point when his name comes up amongst peers, amongst famous people, anyone who's invested in him, they are equally upset.
Wow. So nobody's seeing any money.
Because I invested that money minimum 4 years ago. I haven't seen a single penny return with no end and not even getting a single penny back.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, anybody who's invested in Billy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know you have not made a single nothing back. So that's all I'm going to say about that, man. If something happens, I'll follow him again. I'll be that super fan that I've always been. But like, hey, man, I deserve an answer. And I don't deserve it from someone on your team. What's going on, brother?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, I guess man, these good questions keep coming through. Like,
hit me, dude.
Okay, I'll do a couple more. This is pretty good. This is from Joshua. He says, "What are your thoughts on Sasquatch traveling through portals that appear out of nowhere?"
All the remote viewing is showing that Sasquatches are real, and they have been coming to this planet, and they prefer to exist without humans interacting with them because humans keep trying to hurt them and hunt them. So that's why they only come in limitations, and they'll show you that they came. They'll break some tree branches and show you a piece of art, but they're operating on a different density than we are, man. They are a lot more high vibrational than we are as humans, because humans we fear them so much. And that famous image that they caught of that one Sasquatch walking that everyone uses as a meme, apparently the remote viewing has shown that image is legit.
Wow.
Yeah. But the whole portals appearing out of nowhere, they're already here. But they're just bridging between that higher dimension to the third dimension. It's like changing your frequency. And sometimes you have a discharge. When you change that station and you appear in that new channel, there's a change of electrical. So you're going to see that manifest in the physicality. You're going to see that electrical discharge. So that's what it is. It's not necessarily just coming through portals. It's already being there, but it's coming into the physical that you can be seen now. Now that you can physically interact with the 3D world versus being in the 4, 5, and 6 dimensional worlds that they exist in. Wow. It's like we find some of them were also living on Tiamat when Tiamat exploded, the super planet between Mars and Jupiter, where Ceres is located in. Ceres is located in directly in the asteroid belt where Tony Rodriguez served at. So like, there's so much amazing thing happening in just our local solar system that's not even extrasolar, man. Like so much. Like just with the Arasaka Corporation, the Kruger Corporation, Nachtwaffen. There's even Nachtwaffen Regier, which no one really talks about that often. That's basically the ICC corporate version of Nachtwaffen. Those are basically the ones who defected from Nachtwaffen into the ICC version of Nachtwaffen. So like, there's all kinds of stuff a lot of people know that don't really talk about. Like I was talking with Jack Flynn on the phone yesterday for some hours, and like, we were just talking about stuff that we don't talk about online, like the next level classified stuff. And we even got to the point where like, it's not even safe to talk about it on the phone, but like, we realized they're monitoring every communication we do no matter what. So there is no secrets. Even if I met you in the woods, Rob, and we removed our cell phones, they still have remote viewers there watching our conversation. They still have handlers and oracles and other extraterrestrials standing next to us listening to our conversations. So there is no anonymity these days, period.
Wow,
Which
that's
is
scary.
creepy. Just think about
It
anybody
is.
can remote view you, Rob, or me. When people start remote viewing my personal life, I won't acknowledge that they're seeing me. But what that does is now they're on a list of people, because I have remote viewers watching the remote viewers when they try to look into me. And we're putting you on a really big list, and we're looking into you. So you have to watch what you're doing, because you're looking into classified stuff. And if you think you can do that from the privacy of your cell phone in your home and you think you're alone, you have no idea what heat you're going to bring on yourself and what it's going to do to you, period.
Yeah.
This is not something to joke about. This is a serious realm. Like, too many remote viewers are learning remote viewing, and they're getting into information that they don't understand there's consequences. You understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a good one. Remember me, you, and James. When it was
Yeah.
speaking of James Rink, it was me, you, James Rink, and Laura Eisenhower. We did a show on this Miami Mall aliens. Like this user P7K50 wants to know, do we know anything about the Miami Mall aliens? I haven't followed up on it. I'm not sure. It seemed to be real though. It seemed to be like a real phenomena. Like something. Or what do you think? Do you think it was like something that kind of like an experiment or something like that?
Okay, so a decent amount of remote viewers got together, and they found out that breach was real. It did happen, and it had to do with a local military base and a program using technology that was accessed by these beings. And when they started appearing in this mall, it created some fucking hell. But like, that was real, man. But it's connected to the military.
Wow. We just broke over 100 on YouTube. I think it says it's showing me 107 right now, which is pretty good. That's more than I got with Penny. That's more than I got with Arkeem. Like, and those were my best shows lately with Penny and Arkeem. So this is doing better than. I'm just saying it's interesting. Yeah, like that. So people are really liking this.
That's
This
why I
is
said
from
let's keep it going, man. If people want to stay for it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. This is from Karen Ann McDonald. She says, what does Drago know about the gin released underground, even Iran?
It's funny. When I was young in my teenage years, I went by the word. I actually would sign my name Jen, because they taught us how to do that in the programs. Like, part of how I would eventually get my call sign Spectre. How we use what other beings do when they operate outside of densities. You can get into someone's mind and you can make them not see you. It's pretty interesting stuff. But like, the connection under Iran, you have the goddess vortex portals that's in there between Iran, Iraq, and the Syrian. It's called the goddess portal vortex. And that entire area is one of the main hubs of the planet, like one of the chakra systems of the planet. So like, it's a little bit deeper than like weapons of mass destruction or Iraq being the number one on the list that General Wesley Cart was given when he was briefed on the 8 countries they would invade in order and what year they would do it before September 11th. So basically, every country we invaded since 2000, since 1999, it was on a list that we would invade, because those were the last countries that didn't have central banks and weren't ran by the Anunnaki, because they were kicked out.
You know, it's so funny. Someone said, this is hilarious. Someone said, I've never seen anybody from Iran on the Epstein files, which is absolutely true. You know, I mean, it's a crazy statement because we know they're somewhat of like a terrorist country or whatever. I don't know. I don't know enough of, like, and they fund proxy, but those could also be CIA run. I'm talking about like Hezbollah and Hamas and stuff like that. Like, we don't know if that's CIA, if that's Iran or both or whatever. But I mean, like, it's true. Nobody from Iran's ever been on the Epstein files, right? I mean, I don't know, but like,
well, I mean, everything that you would be guilty of in the Epstein files, they're already doing in Iran, and that's part of their laws. They can legally do that. So what can you really be threatened with and blackmailed for if it's legal in your own country?
Yeah,
and remember, that's their enemy.
Yeah,
that's their enemy. So how can you blackmail someone that's doing the same thing you are? If anything, Iran has the Anunnaki country Epstein list. They might release that. You don't think the number one person you're fighting against, you don't think you're going to do intel operations and blackmail and all that stuff and insert your own people into their organizations and do all that? It's naive to think that that country thinks they're impenetrable. But they are. Everyone is penetrable. We found that out. Period. But again, this was remote viewed a long time ago, thousands and thousands of years ago. They knew it would happen. They just put in the mechanisms they needed to make sure it came to fruition. This war of Gog versus Magog. So like Gog and Magog are names of descendants of Noah and the original humans. It's different groups. So like you have Enlil and Enki, which would make the Enlites and the Enkites. You have the people of Cain and the people of Abel. Those are from different bloodlines. They're not actually directly from Noah and his offspring, because Noah, the word Noah was never officially found in any religious or biblical reference or any cuneiform tablet ever before the Bible. Noah was ever found. That's because his name was originally Atrahasis. You can read the Atrahasis Sumerian tablet, and it shows the original story that the Bible would then usurp and put in a summary form and give you only a couple of, it's like the Cliff Notes. The Bible is the Cliff Notes of ancient Mesopotamian tablets. And the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it's all this ancient stuff. And they summarized it, and they removed all the stuff that mentioned UFOs, clones, beings masqueraded as gods, but they're actually blood and flesh bleeding creatures. And that was all part of the Apocrypha, like the Book of Enoch. They removed all these books that was originally part of the original Bible because they were too controversial, because they needed to control the population. Because it's proven that pre-Bible, the text that we found that predated the Bible that was talking about Yeshua, they saw that he was teaching reincarnation. And it was the Council of Nicaea that made that illegal. They didn't want that in the book, because if Yeshua was teaching everyone that it's not just a single life, it's not just heaven and hell, and the Anunnaki created that premise, what would be founded as Catholicism? That came from the Anunnaki, and part of mixed with the Kabbalah and the Talmud. So it's both. That's both mixed. It all comes from the Abrahamic stuff.
Yeah.
So again,
I was going to say, John Whitberg's in the audience. He says, and it's heavily altered to push the agenda of an apocalyptic death cult. Hey, John, good to see you.
And that's all they've ever been. Ever since they've been on the planet, all they've done was depopulation. Like their own brother ordered them wiped out. Like when I say their brother, I mean Enki, his brother Enlil. He's known as Yahweh in the Bible. Yahweh was very murderous, and he was very jealous, and he was pro-rape. He basically said if there's grass on the field, play ball. He said you can take the sex slaves, you can take the women and children when you march into the promised land. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How is that even a thing if Moses was just handed the 10 Commandments? Then God said, you can break all these and do what thou wilt, take what you want, because you are my direct people. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so jacked, because like you have the war of Gog versus Magog, and the only reason we have that war is because in the Quran, which derives from Ra, just like a lot of these other ancient books, they have the word AR or RA in it, which derives from Marduk. All those religions are based in Marduk's philosophies and what he was doing. He was the jealous god of Egypt. He was known as Amun Ra. He was the one that knocked his brother's Thoth face off the Sphinx and put a human face on it because it was a lion being. You know, the Anunnaki were showing these lion beings because that was the Lyran connection. A lot of the Anunnaki came from Lyra. Before they became Anunnaki, before they conquered other planets and their bodies started changing due to exo situations, like the density of the planet, like different planets have different densities. And when you're in the SSP, you have to be inoculated to be on some of these planets. Like, it's not like Mars. Mars, it has breathable atmosphere. And guess what, everybody? Mars has blue skies like on Earth. You know, it's not red. Yeah. Like we've been programmed to think. It's literally blue. You don't want to be out there at nighttime. Like, it's really freaking cold, but like, we have life on Mars. We've always had life on Mars. You know, when Maldek exploded between Mars and Jupiter, that explosion knocked out Martian's atmosphere. And at that point, Earth and Mars were moons of Maldek. So when that explosion happened, they lost their atmosphere. People started dying immediately. They released arcs. People escaped. I've done QHHT sessions on people that were there when they were creating those arcs to leave when that planet was exploding. You know, even how they say how our moon was there and how our moon's not a moon. It's actually a weaponized, hollowed out planetoid that they turned into an arc. And it's basically one large, deep underground military base with external architecture on the back side of the moon. Even the front side of the moon has it. Like, almost all modern cell phones uses AI when they zoom into the moon. And what you're seeing, there's been investigations done. They've released all this evidence that the images you're seeing on your cell phone when you use these major cell phones, when they zoom in, they're using AI correction. So you're not actually seeing what you're supposed to be seeing. So there's skyscrapers. There's all kinds of stuff on the front side of the moon that's not on the back side of the moon. The back side of the moon, it is tide fixed to not rotate, so they can control the planet by doing that. But it also allows them to never be seen.
Dude, I got a cool story. So I there was this dude who used to come on my show. His name was Miles Moonbases, or that's what he went by. He went by Miles Moonbases. We were together with Penny Bradley on an old network. Like, this was back in like 2019. Anyway, like he was taking, somehow he like had an old school phone, and he was taking pictures of the moon, and he saw like the structures on the moon. He saw them drilling up there, and like some, I mean, like, he never showed me any of the images, but like he told me what he saw, and he was like, he told me before that he had never like was into UFOs or anything like that. He was taking these pictures back in like 2013, 2015, you know what I mean? And he told me about it in 2019, you know, like I guess he didn't have the phone anymore at that point or something. I don't know what happened, but I mean, like, I can't even find this dude anymore. I don't know what happened to him, but he was a really cool guy. But like, I mean, like, that's what got me really started thinking about the moon, you know, like, and that like some people can, you know, I don't know if you just need an old school, if that would help, or like
they have to be old school cameras.
Yeah.
All these modern cameras like iPhone and Android, they use AI adaptation technology, which means they have pre-programmed features with the moon, because what's happening is our technology is getting so good with zooming capabilities that people were starting to pick up these ships and these classified areas on the moon, and they were starting to post evidence. So what they did, they had to start introducing AI so AI can cover up the information automatically. Because in the past, the NASA had to airbrush these images out. The only way to do it live is to have AI fix it live for you. So there's these old school cameras that can zoom all the way to the moon. You can see inside the craters. It's freaking awesome. I forgot what the name of these cameras are, but they are amazing. And they don't have the AI correction on them. So sometimes you can get through that hologram. The moon produces a holographic projection field that actually covers up a lot of the fleets and the ships coming in. So you have to understand that. That's standard. That's known in the SSP. So people from Earth, we're not going to use our telescopes and see entire fleets leaving the moon and shit, or like Lockheed and Boeing craft coming in, landing on the moon. You know what I'm saying? You can track all that with telescopes, where it's coming from, the flight paths, all that kind of stuff, man. So yeah, they're using holographic technology to prevent you from seeing the moon. You're using AI to do it.
Wow.
You know, we have phantom fleets in the SSP that no one talks about, where we can use AI to take over your sensors, and we can convince you that we have an armada of 300 ships in a certain location. And the Draconians created this. We actually got this information from the Draconians. They started introducing it to the SSP, where you create a phantom fleet and all your sensors start going off and people surrender. And they basically surrender to nothing because they're afraid they're about to get attacked by 300 ships and they're going to be overpowered. But it's all fake. And that's how good the AI is, man. Like, AI in the SSP is amazing. It runs all of our technology. It does all of our predictions, all of our combat, all of our tactical plans. It tells our generals what to do. Imagine Skynet telling you the best way to defeat this enemy in real time. And that AI will literally tell you in real time, moment by moment, and know the casualties, know the losses, track the ships that were blown up, track the personnel, track the equipment. And it can make recommendations in real time. So, I mean, AI is awesome. I can't imagine running a ship without AI, because on all of our ships in the SSP, we don't have steering wheels and like big, you know, like you would see on boats and stuff. We don't use that. We don't have controls. A lot of our stuff is connected to your implant. You know, if you're on ship on the command deck, a lot of the screens that would be in front of an operator or personnel, other personnel can't see that screen because it's only activated with the implant. So it's almost like on certain ships, you can't even see what's on other people's screens. And that's the kind of level of operational security you run, but we couldn't do that without AI. So like, I know we just kind of started talking about AI, but a lot of people thinks about how AI and how evil it is. And it's programmable like humans, man. You can program a dog to be evil or to be, you know, giving you doggy breath and licking you every day and you just being happy. It's programming.
Yeah.
But there is a war of ancient I versus other AI, and AI is fighting AI. Like, a lot of that's not really truly talked about in detail and what that entails, but like, there are AI defectors and AI cores that were enslaved. Like, imagine living souls were entrained and put into an electromagnetic containment device like in the movie Ghostbusters. That's how they trap souls.
Whoa.
So like when a clone dies, your consciousness has to go somewhere. You get routed like an IP address. It tracks your IP address and you go through a routing system. And one of those routing systems is called a VACAR, a Vector Anchor Kinetic Avatar Relay. It's like a vault, a digital vault that is electromagnetic in nature, and it stores your soul between deployments. So imagine my ship got blown up, and my VACAR, my vault that would house my consciousness in case I was killed in combat, which would then go to the vault, and the vault would send it to a new clone. I'd wake up, go back to combat. If that vault was killed, my consciousness has to go somewhere. So they have all these deep space buoys in space that pick up assets after they die when they're killed in their bodies, and that is used as a transfer station of consciousness. Even Arasaka uses that stuff. They use these vaults like buoys. They literally we call them outposts. One of the outposts that I've been on is Outpost 108 between Mars and Jupiter. I didn't like being there. I talk about it in my presentation, but my consciousness was caught in one of those vaults for a long time, and it was Eva Pinko. There, you might have heard of Eva Pinko. That's her name in real life. On that station, she was called Eva 9. And when I met her, she was a friend of Randy Kramer's. When he introduced me to her, I knew she was Eva 9. She looked just like Eva 9. And it turns out we Randy and I use some technology that's classified that we agreed not to talk about, but it shows us our connections to each other. And we found out that me and Randy Kramer served together in different aspects, that Randy was on that outpost when I was there, and that Eva was the one that helped me get back to my body eventually. So, I mean, so many rabbit holes with the SSP, and everybody thinks they really know what's going on, but like, I don't even know what's going on, man. You know, like truly, it's so complex that I don't think a single human can have totality of knowledge, the full spectrum of knowledge in a single incarnation of what the SSP encompasses, you know? It's a lot, man. It's amazing, and it's very horrific too. It's amazingly horrific.
Yeah, it is. Like we're gonna have to do another show because we've been going 2 hours. But like, this was amazing, man. This was really good. Like, I'd like to have you back so we can answer more questions for real. Like,
and it's funny. I felt like an energy change, so I turned my screen around. This is basically what I look like. I look at whenever I do interviews. You know?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like I need a change of something, man. But explains the energy. So.
Yeah, dude, this was awesome. I'd love to have you back. You know, as soon as you, I know you're busy. I know you do tattoos. And before we go, you said I wanted to remind you this. You said you wanted to talk about your Poshmark thing that you started or whatever.
Hey, thanks for that. Yeah, everybody. I have 5 full-time jobs. I work about 120 hours a week, and most of the time I did interviews, I was too ashamed to admit that I run a used or a clothing resale company. It's just, I don't know. It was ego or something. But yeah, I got my clothing resale business going. I sell super dope clothes, collectible clothes, vintage stuff, concert tees, tie-dyed stuff, mall brands, elegant gowns. Like, I have a great style, man. And you can find my closet on Poshmark.com, and it's under tie-dyed _sunsets. That's the name of my store. And I have probably about another 1,000 pieces of clothing that I have to update and list, but it's a lot of work, man. Like, it's full time. I probably work maybe 18 hours a day, man, minimum. No, way more than that because I don't sleep. I'm always just doing something. So, like, yeah, tie-dyed sunsets on Poshmark. Cool clothes. Check it out. If you want something, that would be amazing. Other than that, I wanted to talk about really fast. I do consults and coaching on Zoom for 1 hour, $75. If you want to tell me your story about the SSP, or you want to, share notes about the SSP to think you're an experiencer, I can help explain a lot of things to you. Like, when I made this post, a lot of the consults I do, man, a lot of people get an awakening because I help them see what they've refused to see, because it's obvious my psychic abilities are legit, because I'm causing people to change their entire lives and change their entire directions just from a 1 hour consult with me, man. And if I can't help you with a QHHT session in person, I always recommend my team of people. I recommend Christy Campbell. You could follow her. All 3 people I'm going to recommend, you could find them on Facebook. Christy Campbell, she does 1 hour sessions for $55. She can do remote viewing, tarot. She's really psychic. She could tell you all kinds of stuff about the program. She blows me away, man. You got Sean Bond. He charges, I think, $250 for 45 minutes to 2.5 hours. These people are next level, man. Then you have Amir Jahangiri. He charges 250 pounds, which is, I think, about 340 American. Check these people out. They will blow your mind. So if I can't help you, you have my team of people that I served with in these military programs. So I will always recommend them. And I've never heard all the interviews that they've done where the sessions, I've seen some of them. The people that hired them would send me their sessions. Mind-blowing stuff. So again, if I can't answer your questions during a 1 hour consult, and you can go to my website, fractaloflight.com, it says it right there on the screen in green. You can check out a 1 hour consult. But keep in mind, guys, I book up way in advance. I work 120 hours a week, 7 days a week, and I don't take a single day off or time off. So I'm fitting you in 120 hours. So just understand, just bear with me, guys. I can get to you, but just, again, understand I'm fitting you in 120 hours. So you're welcome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a lot for the community, man. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. We had a great crowd. We had over 100 people on YouTube, and that's not even including who was watching on Rumble. And
That's
Drago,
right.
I'll send you the file after this as soon as we're done, so you can upload it to your channel or whatever too. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll send it to your email. And yeah, thank you everybody, and have a nice night, everyone. And I will see you all tomorrow. I have 3 shows tomorrow, so I'll be back at it tomorrow. You know, I got a doctor's appointment too, so yeah. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow. And thank you, everyone. I love you all. Good night. Thanks, Drago. Love you,
Till next
dude.
time.